Hey everybody, it's Julie. Thanks for joining me today for journaling Psalm 119, 105. This is week 4 of Word Nerd, and I'm journaling one of the cards. And this particular verse says, "Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path." And with that theme in mind, I'm using some glow-in-the-dark Mod Podge. I'm also going to use some Distress ink, and because of that, I am going to prep my page with clear gesso. I don't always prep my page, but sometimes I do. And this is one day where I want to, because Distress ink definitely goes through, and I'm going to do some smushing, and I don't want that to necessarily go all the way through. So I'm just prepping the page. I go over the entire page, and I'm just using a foam brush to do that. This will allow the page, it gives it more of a surface, and that way the products don't go through it. Now I'm using a brayer to kind of roll it. You can also use any kind of bottle, like an acrylic paint or the Mod Podge. I just happen to have a brayer because sometimes it crinkles up, and that allows me to kind of roll it back into shape. So with this Distress ink, you just stamp it onto some packaging and then spray it or wet it with a brush, and then just apply it to the page. Now because of this gesso, it doesn't sink into the page, it doesn't absorb into the page, so it's kind of sitting there. So it's not the same effect that you would get if it were a non-prepped page, but that's okay. I like what it's doing here. And I just kind of rubbed it across a little bit. Didn't want to rub it too much because I wanted that splotchy effect. Now I'm using a Reeves watercolor paint. This watercolor type paint, it's kind of a cheap brand. I mean, it's inexpensive, but it works. And this particular color blended really nicely with this kit. This is the Flesh Tone. And I'm just doing the same thing here, but this is a watercolor paint. It's different than the Distress. But look at that. I love that combination of the coral, the abandoned coral, and then this Flesh Tone. Now what I'm doing here is I'm wiping off some of the paint from the packaging with a baby wipe, and then I highlighted my verse with it. So hey, reduce, reuse, recycle. Don't waste anything. I just highlighted the verse. Now using doilies has been kind of my motif throughout Word Nerd, so I'm going to keep it going for this last week. And this pink piece of paper, it's not paper, this is one of the clear cuts. I cut it out from the GeoShapes clear cut set from Illustrated Faith, and this doily was a little bit too big, so you saw me trim it down. I didn't want to cover up the verse, so I trimmed it with my trimmer, and then I trimmed that doily right there. So I'm trying to find some clear tape right now, but instead I just found a double-sided tape, and I had to take that off screen because trying to get the backing off of it, I had to fight with that. So that allows me to still see the verse. I'm going to make a little tip in right here, a little flap, because this will allow me to make a flap that I can journal underneath, and that doily behind it kind of softens it. That pink, that bright pink is really bright, but the rest of this look is kind of soft. Okay, so now I'm going to use a Creative Retreat stamp set, and I will link this, and I'm just placing them where I want them to go. I'm doing this real fast, and then I'm going to put my block on there and just pick them up where I want them to go. So place them on your page when you're using these acrylic stamps. Place them on your page first, and then you can pick them up with your block. Now this verse says, "Your word," I think I already said this, "Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path." And what I'm stamping here is shine your light in the darkness. Your word shine light in the, no, I can't read what it says. Shine light in the dark. Your words is what it's going to say, because I'm going to use, there we go, your words up there, the little word fetty. Your words shine light in the dark. Sorry about that. When I'm doing this video, it's on a little thumbnail. It's small, and so I couldn't read what it said. All right, now, here's the funny part. I'm drying this ink, and notice what happened to my clear cut up there. It just warped. It warped. And you probably saw that happening, but I didn't. And I've done this before in a video where I melted something. So, this video is a hot mess of a whole bunch of things, and you're going to see me fix some things. So I'm trying to roll it down with my brayer. I'm trying to bend it, but you can see it's still a little warped. So I'm going to fight with this a little bit throughout the video, and you'll see me end up just fixing it. Okay, now I'm using that Mod Podge, and it's glow in the dark, and I did water it down because Mod Podge is kind of gluey. It can be used as like a decoupage kind of thing, and so I watered it down, and all of these lamps, these little light bulbs, I want to paint with this Mod Podge, and this is going to give it a glow in the dark effect. And I will, at the end of the video, put a couple of pictures on here for you so you can see how it works. Now, I used a permanent pink pigment, pink is my color, a pigment ink to stamp Shine Your Light in the Dark, so that when I painted this on there, it did not smear, because I did not want that to smear at all. I'm giving it a double coat on these items, and then I'm going to let that dry. I'm not going to heat set that too much. I really don't want to mess that up. It may get too gluey. I'm not sure what it would do, so I'm just going to set that aside and let it dry. So I'm using a couple of the little pieces from the Word Nerd kit. I still have quite a bit left from this kit, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it all. I might use it in my planner. There's still so much I could journal with this kit, and so I think I'm going to keep going and still do more. The theme behind this kit is wonderful, just spending time in the Word. And that's what this verse is. Your Word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. That's what spending time in the Word, it gives us light. It gives us a clear path so that we can know what to do. We can know how to go about our day, how to what are the answers to those big decisions? What are those answers to those little decisions? So that's what the Word is all about. So I stamped from the Word Nerd stamp set where it says, your Word lights the way. And I just cut it out on cardstock to make it match some of these other elements, like that white light bulb up there. So now I'm keeping this on screen so you can see what I do, but I'm fighting now with that piece of the melted clear cut, which is like a transparency film. It's acetate. And I'm trying to make a little flap, and because of that warped part to it, it's just not working. The washi tape won't work. It's bending the page. It's too heavy. And so what I end up doing, I'm using this washi tape at the bottom because that's been something for every page. I want to keep that consistent with all of my Word Nerd entries. I love this washi tape, this color. I just love this whole kit. If I haven't said that before, I love this whole kit. I think I have said it anyway, haven't I? So these cards over here, these journaling cards, I'm rounding the edges, and I'm putting these cards over on the opposite side of each of my entries, and that way they are very heavy, so they add some bulk to my pages, to the Bible. That way, if I want to remove it later on and just keep it somewhere else, I can. Now, notice what I did. I realized I had to stop. The phone rang, and I realized in the process that I didn't take that clear plastic covering off of the clear cut, which is what you're always supposed to do. I don't know why I didn't do it. And that was part of what melted. And then I just decided to trim it down. So one thing to do, you can see me here cutting it again and then layering it. And you won't even be able to tell that, look, this was a hot mess, like I said. But you won't even be able to tell once it's done. You just layer it. You trim it down and then layer it. So I made kind of a fishtail by trimming it in the middle and then cutting up the edges. And that worked. That worked. See how it's not warped anymore. And I'm just thankful that I was able to to fix that because that was going to drive me crazy. So now I can fix it. I can put it on with washi tape, and I'm following that same diagonal cut with the washi tape, and I'm putting that on there. I do fiddle with this light bulb quite a bit. And because I've got that extra space there, I'm putting the Your Word. Now what's cool with this Mod Podge is that it is glow in the dark. And you'll see that later on. But the pictures that I show you are not very bright because there wasn't a lot of light yet that I had given to them. And that's a lesson right there, because the more light that we take in, the more we glow, right? Just like this glow-in-the-dark paint. Just an aside, I decided to put some of this double-sided tape here to hold that in. The washi tape, this clear cut is kind of heavy, so the washi tape wasn't holding it in very well. It was just coming off. So I'm using the double-sided tape. Anything heavy like that, the washi tape's not going to do a real good job holding it in. For example, these journaling cards are pretty heavy, so sometimes you just need something a little bit stronger than the washi tape. So back to that, the more that we feed ourselves with the light, with the Word, the more we will glow, the more we will shine. Just like these glow-in-the-dark things that we always play with, you have to just feed them a lot of light. They've got to really bask in light so that they can glow brightly. And the more that we shine, we will shine more by feeding ourselves more with God's light. So the more time we spend in the Word, the more our lives will shine with His light. Oh, I just love that idea. I love that thought. And that's something I have to really focus on. And you know, Bible journaling is about that. You're spending time in the Word. So by just focusing, by doing this, it really is helping you to glow more and to shine more. So I'm going to add a little bit of splatter paint just to finish it off here. The black splatter paint is always a good effect. I'm looking for my paintbrush right now. There we go. Found it. And I'm just going to tap that onto the edge, onto the page, just a little bit, sprinkle it here and there. It adds a nice finish effect. And I decide I'm going to come in and add a few little black crosses to bring in that element from the clear cut tip in that I have up there. So remember, you always want to have an odd number of elements when you bring this in, when you add something like that. It's just more pleasing to the eye. So I've got 5 different clusters, and in each cluster I have an odd number. So here's a couple of shots. They're not very bright, but you can see how they glow. I had to take that into my laundry room where there were no lights. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed Word Nerd. You can still purchase it, and there is a 25% off sale at Dayspring. You can click on the link in my comments section, and that'll take you there. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section, and subscribe to my channel. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and come back and join me soon. God bless. Bye-bye.